Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you're doing well. Today, we have the pleasure of doing another creative intuitive transmission, a CIT. As always, the message of today is coming from my inner guidance, my higher self, my soul, and in the same way with the Mella collective, which is my soul cluster. So, a group of souls I feel connected to in a kind of telepathic, claircognizant way. And they always offer a message of of high vibration that can bring some positivity in your life, and hopefully it will bring a message today that will resonate with you. So today's message is take one thing at a time. Um, And as always, in my creative intuitive transmissions, the message that I receive intuitively from within is actually a message that I often need to hear myself. So I am sharing this as a transmitter, but deeply, I'm also in the need of receiving it. So I like this element of us being all equal on the same level as if, I'm not a guru. I'm not a teacher. I'm not here to teach you something. I'm just here experiencing life as you are. And in that way, I also learn from the message I'm receiving within. And I'm simply sharing it with you humbly, in the hope that it might be of help to you. So, why do I have the message today of taking one thing at a time? Because in my personal life presently, I have a lot going on, as everyone does, because we're, on one side we have, our inner journey going within and doing that inner work, which takes a lot of engagement and takes a lot of, time, because it's something we want to do with our full mindfulness and presence. And at the same time, we have also the exterior events and elements in our lives. For some people, it can be a family, friends, a partner, children, a job, or it can simply be, the elements of life that come and kind of turn your buttons and push your buttons, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a more challenging way. And especially now that on Terra, we're going through a strong powerful transition of our consciousness, it becomes, we're kind of triggered in all kinds of ways, and in throughout the day, throughout the weeks and months. So sometimes we are having a little bit of a challenge, trying to deal with all of this simultaneously, and trying to be responsible and do everything we need to do and that we have engaged with and that is important for us, either for ourselves or for others. And sometimes we find it difficult to juggle with all this, and trying to be as best as we can in all spheres of our life. But sometimes time seems to be lacking, because I don't know about you guys, but I sometimes feel like time has been accelerating. I feel like days are not enough to do all the things that need to be done, or so maybe that has to do with the rise in frequency we're experiencing towards 4D. So obviously that it will tend to accelerate time. So we're all kind of in this space where we're trying to juggle with all kinds of things. And in my personal experience, for example, when I travel somewhere in another country, when I take some holidays, or when I take my weekly day off on the Wednesday, where I stay away from electronics to keep some mental and sanity. And, when I, for example, go to visit a friend for a couple of days, and which was the case, I spent a few days at my sister's, or star sister, or close friend, Milan. And, all of these types of getting away from my usual routine, bring me to a place where when I'm with people or when I'm traveling somewhere, it's very super, super important for me to be completely present and mindful in what I'm doing. I'm not one to multitask and do all kinds of things at the same time and doing badly. I prefer to do one thing at a time and do it well, to be in presence, to be in full mindfulness with the person I'm with. I don't want to be with someone and at the same time, texting or answering messages, or, for me, it's very important to do one thing at a time and do it well. So as I was traveling in Ireland for 2 weeks as a vacation, but also as I went to my friend Milan, I was completely there with them. I was with my friend, or I was completely in the space I was visiting, the place I was exploring when I was traveling. And because of that, then I'm not connecting to any social media or anything like that. And what happens is that all of these things tend to accumulate. And then if I'm gone 2 or 3 days, then I end up, with a mailbox or things that is full of messages to answer and people to talk to or help or support, or in my practice, I end up having a lot of things to do at the same time. And that becomes quite overwhelming for me. I feel like I can't keep up, and I'm not able to do everything I need to do in one day. And sometimes I have to postpone messages a few days, and it's frustrating for me because I really like to be there for the people that I support in an everyday basis. So it's all of this becomes challenging, and then I become all stressed out, and I become like panicky, and I end up not feeling well. So the whole point of me sharing this with you is that I'm always reminded by my higher self or my soul or the fractal of source that I am, same words for the same thing, but also by the Mella collective, which is my soul group or my soul cluster, to actually stop freaking out and being panicky, and instead just come back inside, go within, reconnect with my breathing, and then take one single thing at a time, instead of trying to multitask a bunch of things and doing all of them kind of wrong or rapidly or without full consciousness or mindfulness, which I don't like doing. So, and I've noticed that when I actually get into that inner space of peace and calmness and centeredness, where I stop being panicky and freaking out, and I take one thing at a time, one step at a time. I do just one thing at a time. If the phone's ringing and, notifications kind of ring here and there, I just turn all of that off and do one thing at a time. Now it's time for my CIT. I do this. Now it's time to answer someone's message, and I do this. Now it's time to take care of myself and cook myself a nice meal. I turn off all computers. I don't watch videos while I'm eating. I'm just there. I'm tasting my food. I'm present in the environment in which I am. Just examples, I'm giving you in order not to fall into that space of panic, of doing multitasking, which, you end up doing things wrong, or not wrong, but in a not so involved or engaged way. So this was just a personal example to illustrate this. And so today, it's a very simple message we received today. It's not very complicated. I don't need to spend 25 minutes explaining it. I think you all know what I mean, and you've all been through a place where you're feeling overwhelmed, either by social media or by events happening in your life or people being too demanding in your life. And then you freak out. Either you become angry or you become stressed out. And then it's really super important to give yourself that time of void, of calm, of silence. Turn off notification and just go within and breathe. And remember that everything is there to offer you the opportunity to choose what your priorities are. And if your priority is to give balance in your life between your needs and other people's needs, then feeling overwhelmed is not going to help you and not going to help others. So it becomes very important to take that space and time for yourself to go within and recenter. And in this way, you can be completely there for you, give yourself what you really need. And then when you feel all calmed and filled up with the high vibrations that are inherent to your soul, then you're able to go back to the little bit of a chaotic things happening exteriorly in your life, and you can address them one at a time with full mindfulness and presence. So that's the essence of today's message. And all of you know this. And so today it's only a reminder, as it was a reminder for me today, to just take one thing at a time and stop freaking out. And something I've noticed as well is that when you get into that space of calmness and presence and mindfulness, recentering, I've noticed that time will start to decelerate, because you become you are in another frequency. You're in a frequency in where time doesn't matter anymore. Your ego is not freaked out by all this, tasks and chores and things you have to do with a certain timing, you get out of that space time bubble of busyness, and you get into a space where time doesn't seem to matter so much. And then time seems to, I don't know, stretch in some strange ways. I feel that when I'm stressed out, I'm going to do a bunch of things and I'm still going to feel like I'm missing time and I don't have time to do this and I don't have time to do that. When I go into that centered place, calm place, suddenly time stretches and I realize that I'm able to do one thing at a time, at a good beat, at a good rhythm without stressing. And I'm at the end of the day, I'm able to do everything calmly. So again, remember that your perception of time, which is embedded into this stressful connection to what's happening around you, is really relative. And by going within and doing that recentering, time will stretch. I really tell you this from personal experience. So how are we illustrating this today with the iconography, which is the symbolism of representation, of visual representation in our CIT today, in our creative intuitive transmission? So first of all, we have this beautiful background that was chosen for us today by the Mella Collective intuitively. And I'm going to push a little bit because the essence of the visual message is mostly found in the center of this beautiful background. So what we have is this beautiful Japanese landscape in autumn and beautiful orange colors, but it's a very busy kind of landscape. Lots of trees and the water of the waterfall going on and lots of building and architecture, and it's a very busy kind of image. And so that represents in a way the challenges and the chaotic kind of elements that just hit us right and left and up and down, and that we're like just constantly receiving a lot of information, a lot of things to do, a lot of things to deal with, a lot of engagements we need to deal with. But then we have this beautiful character in the middle. I assume it's a woman. I might be wrong. Doesn't matter. And this beautiful character has seems to be a sword. And this person is just standing calmly, straight in front of this beautiful landscape and this flowing water. And this person seems to be very calm and poised, almost meditating while standing. And this person has this this sword, and it would seem like it's a little bit of a warrior, but a calm, high vibration warrior that's just standing in its own center and not being overwhelmed by left and right and by things that are happening. And he's just watching the water flow, and which is symbolism for the events flowing around him or her, and just standing there and just finding the center. And if you want, appreciating the beauty of the movement of life around you without being overwhelmed by it. And it's an art in itself, a little bit like a martial art. It's a martial art in itself to stay grounded, centered, without being affected by the chaotic events around, elements around. So this is how I personally interpret this beautiful background. And then we also created a Japanese washi chiyogami paper collage, as always. And this collage is entitled Erintahïl, which is actually spelled here. And Erintahïl, as you can see here on my right, is a collage that is represented by, first of all, by a background which is navy blue of color with golden waves. This element of waves and sea foam for me always represents in my collages the notion of being, either challenges or a lot of things going on, maybe even sometimes a little bit of chaotic elements happening in the background. However, the waves are golden, and for me always represents the notion of events and things being a gift to you, golden being a gift to you as an opportunity to determine what are your priorities. Are you going to get lost into the chaos? Are you going to get lost into the action? Or are you actually going to take this as an opportunity to go within and determine what is really super important for you? What is your center? What are you going to give to yourself first and then to others to keep balance in your life? Then in that collage, we have a central large circle, which is light purple in color, very calm and beautiful color with little kind of golden elements in it. But we also have these beautiful white birds in flight that are flying all in the same direction. And for me, I interpret this central circle as, in one way, the center within the chaos of the background. The purple color, light purple, represents this calm, high vibe energy that where you go within yourself and you find this calm peace where you breathe. And at the same time, those flying white birds that go in the same direction for me represents the coherence that you get to when you actually go within and recenter your intentions, your thoughts, your words, and your actions will be coherent with your needs, with your respect of your the harmony within yourself, and then you're able to offer in a one direction, well coherent direction, the actions or words or words you need to share or actions you need to do in order to interact in your life and deal with the data you're receiving or the information or the challenges or the chaos, whatever it is you're receiving in your life. You're able to center and be coherent in the way in which you're going to act and talk and think. Then we have these kind of branches which could also represent a sun rays. It's interesting when you look at it, but I saw it more as these branches which are golden in nature. The paper with black Japanese script on it, for me, represents a little bit like the kind of overwhelming amount of data and information we receive on a constant basis, maybe through social media or through just our everyday life. It's a lot of information coming in all the time, and it's just there, and it's it's coming to you, and it's up to you to take all of this, all these different branches of information just getting to you, and just bring them all harmoniously into your central circle, which is represented here by a golden circle made of the flower of life motif, which for me represents not only source but also the fractal of source that we are. And in that way, all this information is taken by you, and when you go within and you recenter, this information gets organized, and the way these branches are kind of organized to be dealt with in a calm way, one by one, as you would with any information that comes. And then the information doesn't become chaotic, but just simply stuff coming to you that you integrate, that you look at one by one, and that you deal with and organize harmoniously in your life. And in the end, it becomes almost like a sun, it becomes like sun rays. Things are not just chaotic stuff that happens to you from all directions. It's more like you centered in harmony within yourself. You radiate these actions one at a time towards the exterior, and you deal with that navy blue background with waves where it's chaotic. You deal with this one thing at a time. So in that way, it becomes sun rays that shine out of your central circle, your central zone, and it becomes harmonious rather than freaky and too much for you. And then in the lower circle, we have a smaller red circle, which for me represents, as always, the connection to the heart. So when you are connected to that center, you are as well connected to your heart. And when you are connected to that physical heart, but also that energetical heart, which is your heart chakra, you're also well connected to your higher self, to the fractal of source that you are within. But as we see in this particular circle, we also see plants and flowers, which to me represent this question of grounding. So when you're centered in your heart, you're also grounded on Terra. You're not just like freaking out in your head, in your ego, like just you ground yourself on the planet. You ground yourself within yourself, in your body, in your physical reality, in your physical body. And then you're able to take one thing at a time and just deal with them one at a time in calmness, centeredness, without freaking out. So this is how this Erintahïl collage represents visually with iconography the message of today that was offered kindly by the Mella Collective in my own fractal of source that I am and that you all are. This collage, as well as the digital file that is available on my online shop at abigaëllerichard.com, and both the original collage and the digital file are imbued with the high frequencies and loving frequencies that come from the Mella Collective and the message that is shared for you humbly today. So I hope you resonate with this message today, especially in these times of transition when everything is a little bit overwhelming. We are dealing with lots of energies, a lot of information, a lot of disclosure, a lot of news, a lot of BS happening as well in the world, in our matrix. And it's up to us. It's our responsibility not to be overwhelmed by it. And I take this as a personal message as well for me, not to be overwhelmed by this and just take one thing at a time, center within, be in mindfulness and presence, and just welcome each thing with pleasure, with joy, with full presence, and do it well with your complete presence. And then you know it's well done. Then you can move on to the next thing without freaking out, without being, panicky. So I hope this helps. I wish you a lovely day. Take immense care of yourself and just go within and breathe. Much love. Bye. Ooh.